Happy 1 year. Hallelujah. It is good to report back. This is finally my 1 year testimony, 1 year of raw, all raw. Now remember, my journey prior was that I was high raw for over 10 years, closer to 12 years, where I did things like raw till dinner the majority of the time as I was learning and figuring it out. And then this last year, from right after Thanksgiving to Thanksgiving of this year, praise the Lord, I was all raw through this year. And I experimented, yes, with different kinds of dehydrated things and frozen veggies included in that. So to be transparent there. But that is where we are at. And I really wanted to do this awesome 1 year video, and I felt like I just had to take the pressure off and say, you know what? Here's just where it's at 1 year. Things are significantly better. I would say like 90% better overall of all the things I was dealing with over a year ago. Than that time, things are significantly better. And I do think it's 90% and up, of just the improvements that I've seen in this year. It's super good. I'm praising the Lord, thanking the Lord that He really empowered and gave me what I needed to be able to do this. So what has changed in this year? Well, if you remember my hair issues, if you go back to I Survived the Plague video on my YouTube Raw Balance channel, you'll know that I lost like 1/3 to 2/3 of my hair. Well, and as you can see now, it is definitely back. It is definitely growing back. There's a lot of dark, thick hair coming back. It's not perfect. There are still some spots that need some regrowth, but it is definitely coming back in full force. So you could say 90% better with that.
Acid reflux is gone. I don't notice that at all anymore.
Still waiting on eyes to do better. Carrots don't really agree with me very awesomely. I'm finding what forms can carrots work. So we'll see about that. I'm still working on the eyes. Brain fog is probably 95 to 99% gone and done. If I'm having a little bit of a detox day or I ate something dehydrated the night before, I might experience a little brain fog when the next morning I try to put fruit smoothies, on, and it's running into some of that stuff. There can be a little bit of that. But overall, 95%, 95% better, no more brain fog. So that's super good. Thyroid is definitely better, like 95, maybe more percent on the thyroid, believing that that's a total healing actually in the Lord. So total healing on thyroid. Skin. So what I have really noticed with skin, it's definitely improved if you look back to my early videos. What I've noticed is if I do not just dehydrated food, but if I do something with a little bit of oil in it. Like sometimes I'll buy these Brad's raw chips that are dehydrated, but they do have a little bit of oil. Then I get a breakout, and that's kind of what happened here. So I've really pinpointed it down. It's not just dehydrated foods, but if it has a little bit of oil in it, that's where I see the breakouts happening. So that's very interesting to me. Definitely was dealing with that before this year. I had a couple of years of the skin issues as I was kind of getting pre-menopausal, a lot of breakouts. So down to really just if I do something that had a little bit of oil in it, which I try to avoid. I don't put oils in my daily food. It's just if I grabbed something prepackaged that was raw and dehydrated, then I might see a little bit of a breakout. So there is that. Energy levels. Energy levels are way up. I like to get out. I like to be doing things. I don't need as much downtime, as much rest time. A year ago, that was not the case. I was very lethargic after I got COVID, and then kind of a long COVID situation set in, where I couldn't breathe. It was really hard to breathe. It felt like someone was sitting on my chest even, and all of that is gone. I can breathe freely. I don't feel like anyone sitting on my chest, not even like a little bit. So praise God, all of that is so significantly much better. I can really breathe, not an issue. I can get out and play. I can go hike, bike, swim, do all the things that I love to do and enjoy the sunshine. And I'm not having the breathing issues or lethargic, feeling like I can't do anything because just was too achy. So that one's next, achy. I was feeling so achy a year ago. My hips were hitching. If I was sitting down, too little too long, I would get up and it was like, oh, put my hip back together. It was out of place or something. And that is, I'm going to say, like 90 to 95% better and done. Not saying it's perfect because, I am approaching 50. There is that. But I would say it's like 90 to 95% better. So significantly better. The inflammation, the aches and pains are like way, way, way down to almost, almost not there. It's so minor. It's so tolerable. My hubby and I, we take this thing called arnica, which is a plant from a plant, and I also take sulfurzyme. But the cool thing about the arnica is I barely ever need it. My hubby works physical all day, every day, and he needs a little bit of that every day. And it's interesting because during that COVID time and after COVID, over a year ago, I needed a lot of arnica and a lot of sulfurzyme. Now I just take sulfurzyme in the morning, which has MSM, really good things in it. That wolfberry, high antioxidant, highest antioxidant on the planet. I'll have links below if you are interested. And that's all I do, is just in the morning. Now, food combining really helps your inflammation and pain be down to very little. If you will kind of follow a good food combining order, I've found way less inflammation, achiness, and pain. And for me, that's, get all the fruit in first, get the smoothies in with lots of greens, keep the fruit and the greens happening together so you don't have a big up and then a big crash, but just keep it steady with the fruit and the greens coming in the system, in the body together. That's a big key. And then also getting the fats balanced, the omega-3s and the 6s. We do way too much 6s on the fats, proteins side of things. So learning what your omega-3s and 6s are, your very best omega-3s from all of my studies so far are the chia seeds, the flax seeds, but you want to grind the flax seeds right before you eat them or they go rancid. You can taste the difference. I can taste the difference. Also, walnuts are good. They're higher on the omega-3 profile. And hemp seeds are good, higher on the omega-3 profile. So those are the ones you want to make sure you're getting enough of every day. And then keep your omega-6s low. And those are typically found in your oils and your avocados, your, for sure meats and fats, all that kind of stuff. So you got to kind of watch it. And then if you can get that ratio more balanced, for me, I found way less inflammation, aches, and pains. I like to keep the fat lower. Still working on that. It's been 1 year raw vegan. There's plenty of room for improvement to get that fat lower and that ratio balanced, but I'm aiming towards it every day. With the energy factor, I do not find the need for naps. I know lots of people love naps, and that's cool. And that's fine. I'm just saying, I noticed I always needed a nap before this year, and now I am not needing a nap. Very rarely, if I have a detox kind of morning, something like that, will I need a nap. But for the most part, I am no longer doing a daily nap. And, I'm awake. A typical day for me of being awake is like waking up at 7 or 8 and then going to bed at, somewhere between 11 and 1. I like 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Anywhere in there, I'm a very happy camper for the next day. So that's kind of where I'm at for this 1 year raw. Where am I going in the next year? I've been learning about the starches. John Kohler talks about this on his OK Raw channel. And a lot of raw vegans have been doing microbiome gut tests. I'm interested in this. This is intriguing to me. And there is a book that they've read, I think it's called Fiber Fuel. And on a raw vegan diet, we're getting plenty of fiber. There is no lack of fiber on our diet. So what's interesting though is some people are saying that they're finding a lack of certain starches in their microbiome gut tests, and then it could affect your full well-rounded immunity. Now the reason why I think this is interesting is because I feel like all of the foods that the Lord has created in the garden should be available to us. Now maybe not everybody's body can handle all types of foods, but eliminating the whole like root veggies and eliminating this whole sector of food and starches, squashes and everything, it's like, is that really right? So in year 2 of raw vegan, I am starting to just look at some of that. And I've just started to implement trying some purple yams. I feel really full and satiated after it. It doesn't turn on the insatiable hunger that some of like white potatoes and rice used to do. So that's intriguing to me. So I've been feeling like adding about 1 to 2 times a week. And so far I've just been cooking it in the crock pot on low. It could be 3 hours, it could be more. John Kohler recommends doing kind of more of the Instapot thing, like a quick heat and then a cool down. But I don't have that yet, so we'll see. And I have warmed my food in this last year just on, not in the crock pot because that makes it too hot, but I've warmed it. I have a toaster oven that keeps it really just warm. And I've warmed soups in the Vitamix, so I don't have to have like cold soup or cold corn, type of thing if I wanted to make something warm. And like raw vegan pasta, these are some of the tips and things that I've learned, that you can just warm it, keeping the temperature lower, kind of maybe around 100. It just warms it so it's not like cold pasta, when it's cold outside. Heart palpitations was something I was also experiencing a year ago after having COVID. And what I can say is I really notice on the average, most days I don't have this, I don't deal with this anymore. If I get the fat too high in the day, and specifically the omega-6 fats from the avocados, or there's some oils in something, these types of fats in, I can experience a little bit of the heart palpitation thing. My salt tends to run a little low with the blood pressure running a little on the lower side. So I know it's more of the fat issue that is increasing like a heart racing, heart palpitation situation. So I really do try to just keep those balanced, as I mentioned before. Weight loss. So I know I'm a solid 30 pounds down that I have lost in this last year. And I'm in a very happy zone. My clothing sizes have pretty much stayed the same. It's kind of like size 10, 12 overall. So, and that's coming down from an 18. So remember, if you go back to the beginning of my early videos, I was avoiding buying the size 18s because I didn't want to, but all of my 16s were too tight. So I knew I was a size 18. And now I'm fitting in the 10s and the 12s. So that's nice. And I can fit in some small and mediums on top, and probably medium larges on the bottom. So that's kind of how that goes. Dresses, I can fit in the smaller sizes because if depending on like an A-line dress. So that's the weight loss excitement. That digestion is so much faster. That a year ago there was constipation for days, a lot of times, 3-4 days, especially if I had eaten any meat in the evenings. And now I can pretty much count on at least having 1 BM per day. Yay! Woo-hoo! A significant one, if not more. So depending really on how much dehydrated food I eat, that can slow things down. So that's really the big factor right now with the digestion. And saving the hormone and cycle issues, I think it's still just trying to figure out what it wants to do, if I'm going into menopause or not. There were a couple of months where it skipped any cycle at all, and then it came back again during this last year. So it definitely did return, like after it dead stopped after COVID, and like my hair went white and fell out and all that kind of stuff. The cycle had returned after a couple of weeks only, if you go back to my early videos. And then it kind of balanced out a little more, and we're still just waiting to see. So I don't know, stay tuned. I'm 48 now, a couple years to 50, so we'll see where that's at. It hasn't fully stopped yet, I know that. So we'll see, but they are much more balanced. And I noticed as far as the hot flash thing, it kind of goes as the same as like the skin issues and like the heart palpitation issues. When I keep the fat low, and especially the omega-6 fat down, not that you eliminate it, you still need some, I still need some, and then I get the omega-3s higher so it can be more balanced, same kind of thing. I notice less hot flashes, less issues. I really like the spicy food. Some places say, it's the stimulants and the spicy food also trigger hot flashes. But I'm not really willing to give those up at this moment. I like my bio coffee, which is an alkaline coffee that has wheatgrass in it, and I love the taste. I put peppermint, essential oil in there, so it's like a peppermint coffee. Love that. About 1.5 a day. And then I enjoy the spice. As I've been raw vegan, I just appreciate all the different flavors so much more. The chili and the curry and, putting a little kick in there with the jalapeno, like just totally digging that. And I wasn't at first. I had issues with that at first, couldn't really do it. But as time went on over this year, taste buds definitely changed, and I definitely became more able to take more heat, more kick. But I may experience a little bit more of the hot flash with the increase in the spices, things like that. I definitely notice the hot flashes connected to cacao. I don't do cacao most days. It's a rare once in a while treat. Maybe like when I go to a raw vegan restaurant, you're trying the raw vegan cheesecakes, something like that, or the mint patties. I got into those the last month or so, and there's cacao in there. So it's not a daily thing, but that can trigger some of the hot flash stuff for me. Cacao, spices, and not balancing, keeping the fats balanced. So I think in this next year two, I'm going to continue as I'm going. I'm loving it. I feel so much better. I've like so much more work is doable in a day. The income then can increase, like more energy, more work, more income. All those things have improved in this last year. So that's super cool. I was in a place a year ago where I felt like I couldn't do that. And I'm like, how can I increase my income if I don't have the energy to do more work and have more clients? So that has been a huge blessing in this last year. All right, my love and my hugs, and see you on the next one.